Harvard versus Trump, the courtroom showdown over funding. Imagine a legal showdown where the stakes are not just high but astronomically high, involving billions of dollars and the very principles of academic freedom. That's exactly what's happening as Harvard University and the Trump administration clash in a Boston courtroom, with the Ivy League giant fighting to retain access to crucial federal funding. The conflict centers around more than $2 billion in federal grants that the White House has put on ice, demanding significant changes to Harvard's hiring, admissions, and teaching practices. Specifically, the administration is pushing the university to combat antisemitism and dismantle its diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs. But here's where it gets controversial. The Trump team is also trying to restrict Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students by blocking access to a vital visa system. Harvard, not taking this lying down, has filed lawsuits and is seeking a summary judgment, a quick decision based on existing facts, bypassing the need for a full trial. The hearing, held in front of U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs, is a critical juncture in this battle. Judge Burroughs has already ruled in favor of Harvard in a related case concerning the visa system, which could be a positive sign for the university. While an immediate ruling after a one-day hearing is unlikely, Harvard's lawyers have requested a decision by September 3, the deadline set by the Trump administration for the university to resolve its financial obligations related to federal grants. Any ruling, however, is expected to be appealed, potentially leading all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. During the hearing, Harvard's attorney, Stephen Lehetsky, argued that the administration's actions are an attempt to control the inner workings of the university. On the other side, Michael Velchik, representing the government, claimed that Harvard has violated an executive order aimed at combating antisemitism. Velchik bluntly stated, "Harvard wants billions of dollars and that is the only reason we are here," according to local media reports. Judge Burroughs, however, pointed out that the government has provided no documentation, no procedure, to determine whether Harvard has taken adequate steps to combat antisemitism. She emphasized that the constitutional implications of such a lack of due process are staggering. In a June briefing, Harvard's legal team argued that the White House is violating the First Amendment by infringing on the university's right to decide what to teach, express certain views, and seek judicial protection. They also contend that the administration has failed to follow proper procedures for suspending federal funds and that its actions are punitive and irrational. Government lawyers countered that federal funding comes with explicit conditions, and if universities do not meet these conditions, the grants can be canceled. President Trump has suggested that his actions against Harvard are part of a negotiation strategy, even hinting at a potential settlement. A White House spokesperson stated, "We are confident that Harvard will eventually come around and support the president's vision, and through good faith conversations and negotiations, a good deal is more than possible." This dispute is part of a larger campaign by the administration to pressure elite Ivy League institutions. Earlier this month, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, issued subpoenas to Harvard, demanding information about international students. Trump has even hinted at revoking Harvard's tax-exempt status. In March, Columbia University in New York agreed to several administration demands, including banning face coverings at protests and reviewing admissions policies, to avoid losing $400 million in funding. However, these concessions did not fully satisfy the administration, and the U.S. Department of Education has since threatened to revoke Columbia's accreditation. And this is the part most people miss. The broader implications of this conflict extend beyond Harvard and could set a precedent for how the government interacts with academic institutions. What do you think? Is the Trump administration justified in its actions, or is this an overreach into academic freedom? Share your thoughts in the comments. Harvard versus Trump, battle over funding freeze. Imagine a world where universities lose billions in research funding not because of bad science, but because of political battles over ideology. That's exactly what's playing out in a heated courtroom drama between Harvard University and the Trump administration, and the stakes go far beyond one Ivy League school. At the heart of the clash is a critical question: can the U.S. government legally punish a university for its handling of anti-Semitism by freezing federal research grants, or is this a dangerous overreach violating academic freedom? The case erupted in a Boston courtroom on Monday, with both sides digging in over a funding freeze that could strip Harvard of over $2 billion in grants, a sum that underpins life-saving research, from Alzheimer's studies to medical breakthroughs. Harvard's argument, a First Amendment fight. Harvard attorneys argued the Trump administration is abusing its power by conditioning funding on the university's compliance with politically driven demands, effectively chilling free speech and academic autonomy. This isn't just about Harvard, it's a threat to every university's independence, warned Stephen Lehetsky, Harvard's lawyer, emphasizing the case transcends contract disputes to challenge the government's role in dictating campus policies. The university acknowledged anti-Semitism is a problem on campus but insisted its efforts to address it, including diversity initiatives and policy reforms, were unfairly dismissed. Lehetsky questioned how cutting off Alzheimer's research funding could possibly combat hatred. Does defunding medical science really protect Jewish students? The DOJ's counterattack, protecting Jewish students. The Department of Justice countered that the funding freeze is justified because Harvard failed to meet federal priorities, notably by resisting a list of 10 anti-Semitism demands from the Trump administration's task force. These demands included overhauling hiring practices, auditing faculty ideologies, and redefining anti-Semitism in a way critics say could stifle pro-Palestinian speech. The government isn't punishing Harvard, it's standing up for students whose rights were ignored, argued DOJ attorney Michael Velchik, framing the move as a pro-Jewish rights stance rather than an anti-Harvard crusade. Judge Allison Burroughs, an Obama appointee who disclosed her Jewish heritage during the hearing, pressed the DOJ, how does stripping funding for science help fight anti-Semitism? Velchik's response? The government has the right to withhold money from institutions it deems non-compliant. The bigger picture, a chill on academic freedom? This case isn't just about Harvard. If the government succeeds, it could set a precedent where universities face funding blackmail over politically charged issues, from climate research to social justice activism. As Lehetsky warned, the First Amendment doesn't let the government dictate what ideas are acceptable on campus. Controversy brewing. April flashpoint, Harvard refused to comply with the task force's demands, leading to the funding threat. Critics call the demands an unprecedented intrusion into academic governance. $100 million contracts terminated. After Harvard sued, the administration cut off additional contracts, escalating tensions. Recent backlash. Harvard quietly renamed its diversity offices, e.g., Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, became Community and Belonging at its Divinity School, sparking accusations of caving to pressure. What's next? Judge Burroughs has yet to rule, but Harvard is racing against a September deadline to secure next year's grants. The outcome will either reinforce government leverage over universities or draw a line in the sand for academic autonomy. The question for you: should governments have the power to dictate university policies in exchange for funding, even if the goal is combating discrimination? Or does this cross a line into censorship? Share your thoughts. Do academic freedom or student rights take priority here?